The station had been dying long before the engineer decided to stop caring. It coughed through space like a machine too stubborn to shut down, lights flickering out of rhythm, gravity hiccuping just enough to remind him it could fail at any moment. Tools drifted when they shouldn't. Consoles whispered warnings they no longer had the power to enforce. He liked it that way. Machines were honest when they broke. People weren't. He was elbow deep in an open maintenance panel, arguing with a coolant valve that had decided today was a great day for betrayal, when the proximity alarm screamed like it had discovered religion. He slammed his head, swore inventively, and spun just in time to see the emergency airlock rupture. Something slammed through. Sparks, atmosphere venting. Failing shields screaming their last objections. A body hit the deck, slid, and stopped. Blue. Not metaphorically. Not lighting. Blue. Armor scorched and split, smoking in thin, offended wisps. Long ears, too long to be human. Too graceful to be mechanical, flattened against the floor. The engineer stared. "Okay," he said slowly. "That's new." He checked for weapons, then for corrosive leaks, then for anything that might melt the station faster than it was already doing. Nothing. So he dragged her toward the med bay, muttering apologies to no one. The station lights dimmed as if judging him for the effort. Up close, she looked less like a myth and more like someone who had lost an argument with physics. Her breathing was shallow. Her blue skin pulsed faintly with strange glowing marks, as if her body was negotiating with reality itself. The medical scanner threw up errors immediately. Unknown biology. Incompatible systems. Good luck. "Yeah," he muttered. "Same." He worked anyway. Sealant foam. Biostitch threads never meant for alien flesh. Stubborn refusal to let someone die on his floor. Every tremor of the station earned a sarcastic comment. Every near failure got encouragement. When the bleeding finally slowed, relief crept in like it wasn't sure it was welcome. He leaned back, exhausted, and missed the insignia burned into her armor. Missed how the scanner rebooted itself in what might have been reverence. Missed the quiet truth forming beyond the hull. Far away, fleets were already changing. He saved a stranger by accident, unaware the galaxy had just noticed. Consciousness returned to her reluctantly. Sound came first, a mechanical hum slightly off, accompanied by someone humming badly over it, as if trying to assert dominance through music. Pain followed, present but contained, negotiated into tolerable silence. She opened her eyes, closed them again. "Good," a voice said. "That's usually where people wake up or bite." "You didn't bite. We're ahead of schedule." She tried again. The ceiling was cracked, patched, blinking like it had opinions. The engineer sat nearby, spinning a diagnostic tool like a coin, losing an argument with probability. "You're alive," he said. "Excellent news. Mostly for you." She shifted. He raised a finger. "Careful. I rebuilt you with human-grade equipment and optimism. Both have limits." Her voice surprised them both. "You talk too much." He brightened. "Brain's working. Judgment intact." She studied him in silence. The station felt wrong, too small, too honest. She had woken in palaces before, surrounded by fear disguised as loyalty. This man looked afraid plainly, like someone worried about breaking a favorite tool. "You saved me," she said. "Technically, I delayed your death," he replied. "Until someone qualified showed up or you woke up and yelled at me." She almost smiled. The station lurched. Lights dimmed, stabilized. "Ignore that," he said. "She does that when she's tired." "You named the station. I work alone." She sat up, wincing. "You should not have interfered." "People keep saying that," he said, still waiting on a better option. Silence stretched. "I am a soldier," she said carefully. "Great, I'm an engineer. We're both underpaid and bleeding. Want water?" She took it. Confusion settled in her chest. Outside the station, ancient sensors woke from centuries-old sleep, whispering her survival across bent space. Inside, she wondered what it would be like to stay unnoticed. She hides her name, unaware the galaxy already knows it. Recovery was an exercise in irritation. Her body worked again, mostly with commentary. Sharp aches, faint pulses of light beneath her skin. Survival had come at a cost. They fell into routine. He fixed the station. She pretended not to know how broken it really was. He brought synthesized food in questionable shapes. She ate it like a funeral rite. Long-range channels crackled on their own. Patrol drones drifted too close, then veered away. "You have enemies," he said. Everyone does. Yeah, but most people don't attract stealth cruisers with bad manners. She shrugged. I make an impression. She watched him work. Talk to machines. Apologize to doors. Treat malfunction like a personal disagreement. Then an assassin slipped aboard. Fast, precise, certain of success until it slipped on coolant and slammed, headfirst into a crate marked, "Do not stack." The engineer stared at the unconscious intruder. Then at her. Is this related to you? Yes. Okay, he said. That's inconvenient. He dumped the assassin into an escape pod and launched it with a note. Wrong address, please reconsider career choices. If you knew who I was, she said quietly later, you would not be so calm. If I knew, he replied, I'd still ask if you wanted more water. She closed her eyes. Far away, fleets adjusted course again, growing impatient. The first assassin failed. The next won't slip. The station noticed the fleet before the engineer did. Consoles lit in colors they hadn't used in decades. Threat estimates scrolled faster than the cooling fans could protest. The engineer muted the alarms by reflex. If it yells, he said, it panics. Then I panic. Bad cycle. She felt it anyway. A pressure behind her thoughts. Not fear, recognition. Like the universe clearing its throat. Traffic? She asked lightly. He glanced at the display. Depends. If 17 unidentified warships count as traffic, yes. If they count as an invasion, also yes. She closed her eyes. They found me sooner than expected. He turned fully toward her for the first time. That sentence is doing a lot of work. The transmission forced itself through the station's ancient shields, bypassing protocols so old they had ceremonial names. The voice that filled the air wasn't loud. It didn't need to be. Your radiance. The galaxy awaits your return. The engineer stared at the console, then at her, then back. Soldier, huh? She stood slowly. The air responded. Gravity aligned itself. Systems that hadn't been calibrated in centuries snapped into coherence like they recognized her posture. I did not lie, she said. I condensed. He laughed once, sharp, disbelieving. I patched you together with sealant foam. Yes. And now those ships are bowing? Yes. He rubbed his face. I'm never fixing anyone again. Outside, the fleet held position. Engines burning in disciplined silence. Inside, the station creaked, unimpressed. She waited for fear, for awe, for anger. Instead, he pointed at the medbay. Sit, you're still healing. I command. Right now, he interrupted, I command the midbay. She hesitated, then obeyed. Something in her eased, dangerous, unfamiliar. They expect me to return, she said quietly. Wars pause when I speak. And what do you want? She stared at her glowing hands. 5 minutes without kneeling. He nodded. We can do 5. Maybe 10 if the station behaves. The transmission repeated, more insistent. She silenced it with a gesture. The galaxy waited. She delayed command, and the galaxy hates delays. The galaxy was very bad at waiting. By the 3rd minute, transmission stacked like threats wrapped in politeness. The engineer muted them all. The lights dimmed in protest. Great, he muttered. Now it's sulking. She watched fleet indicators hover at the edge of the display. Perfect formations. Impossible scale. Enough firepower to erase history badly. They will not attack without my command, she said. That's comforting, he replied, in a very abstract, temporary way. He pressed a diagnostic patch to her skin. It blinked, recalibrated, then seemed excited. This tells me if you overdo it. I have survived supernovas. Yes, he said, but have you survived my medical advice? She laughed soft, surprised herself. Outside, the fleets maneuvered, nervous now. Commanders recalculating without permission. Power tugged at her. With a thought, she could end 3 wars. With a word, unmake dynasties. She stayed seated. I built the system that lets them find me, she said. Transparency prevents war, I believed. And it taught your enemies where to aim. She nodded. Another transmission broke through, this one sharp, edged with threat. Space folded as a covert task force slipped into reality, ships painted in no fields that drank light. The engineer squinted. I hate ships that don't respect physics. She reached outward. Defense grids stirred. Ancient networks answered. Then she stopped. No, she said. No as in clever, he asked, or no as in we're dead? Clever, probably. She rerouted control through the station. The walls vibrated. Systems screamed. Alarms lost their minds. The engineer grinned. Oh, I know this feeling. This is right before something works. Weapons failed to lock. Targeting loops chased ghosts. Her voice carried not by projection, but presence. This station is under my protection, she said. And his. I'm in the speech? The engineer asked. Yes. Cool. The task force broke, retreated, command. Protocols unraveling. Under an elegant rewrite that bordered on mockery, the station sagged, exhausted but intact. She wobbled. He caught her. Overdid it, he said. They obeyed. Of course they did, he replied. Next time, maybe sit during galaxy-level announcements. She defended the station without fleets, and now everyone noticed. The galaxy did not take the lesson quietly. Sensors recently upgraded with parts that absolutely should not work. Together began detecting anomalies. Probes pretending to be debris. Signals humming with intent. Someone's being clever, the engineer said. Which means stupid is coming. They believe hesitation makes me weak, she replied. Uncertainty just makes people reckless. The first strike wasn't a weapon. It was law, an ancient emergency clause invoked across subspace, succession rights, traditional authority, wrapped in enough ceremony to suffocate a star. They're challenging you, he said. Yes, she agreed calmly. Politely. A second signal followed, less polite. Space folded again. Different ships. No flags, no allegiance. She closed her eyes, touching networks older than empires, then stopped herself. No fleets, she said. The engineer blinked. You're really committing to this. Power should not always arrive screaming. She rewrote reality locally instead. The station became an anchor point. Space bent. Weapon systems failed. Targeting dissolved into nonsense. This station is protected, she said. By choice. The attackers fled. When silence returned, the station hummed, proud, exhausted. You realize, the engineer said, leaning back, you just routed galactic authority through my workplace. Yes, she replied. I owe you a break room. She laughed. Real laughter. Outside, the galaxy recalculated. Inside, something fragile formed. Trust. And far away, those who ruled through fear began planning something much worse. They won't attack her directly next time. They'll attack what she's protecting. They didn't strike the station. That was the mistake. Instead, the galaxy's quieter powers moved elsewhere. Worlds with fragile governments. Trade routes that fed billions. Relief fleets suddenly delayed by unfortunate miscalculations. Chaos. Applied surgically. The engineer noticed first. Supply channels stuttering. Civilian traffic rerouted through dangerous space. Medical convoys running late for reasons that smelled like politics. They're punishing people who aren't you, he said. That's new. She felt it like static in her bones. They are forcing me to act, she said. If I intervene, I prove their argument. If I don't, people die, he finished. Silence stretched. She had ended wars before. Decisively, loudly. Entire. Systems had gone quiet at her command. This was different. This was pressure, not threat. They learned, she said slowly. Fear failed. So now they're using responsibility. He leaned against a console. So what do you want to do? She didn't answer immediately. Instead, she asked, if you were them, how would you force someone powerful to surrender control? He thought. Make them believe every choice hurts someone they care about. Her eyes lowered. Yes, she said. That's exactly it. Another transmission arrived. No reverence this time. Just calculation. A coalition announcement. Temporary Leadership Council. Emergency authority for the good of the galaxy. They're replacing you, he said. Trying. And? And they are very careful not to mention this station. That's when he understood. They're isolating you. She nodded. If I stay, suffering spreads. If I leave, they win. He exhaled slowly. That's a garbage choice. Yes. She turned toward him. And now you are part of it. Before he could reply, alarms flared, different this time. Internal. Unauthorized power draw. Something inside the station woke up that should not have been touched. They didn't come for her, they came for her choice. Whatever they triggered was old. Older than the station. Older than its patched hull and half-forgotten systems. Power surged through conduits never meant to carry it, causing lights to flare white-hot. The engineer swore. That is not supposed to exist. What is it? She asked. An auxiliary system, he said slowly. Pre-Federation, classified as theoretical, which usually means someone built it and regretted it. The station shuddered, not in pain. In focus, external space warped slightly, like reality had leaned closer to listen. "They're trying to force a reaction," she said. "Make me lash out. Make me undeniable. And instead," he muttered, fingers flying across controls, "they just armed my house." A hostile fleet emerged, not attacking, broadcasting. "This installation is in violation of emergency accords," the message declared. "Deactivate unauthorized systems and surrender galactic assets." She laughed once, sharp. "They want you." "Figures," he said. "I always said fixing things would get me killed." Weapons locked, not on her, on the station. They were threatening to erase the one place she had chosen to stay. She reached for command instinctively. Stopped. "No," she said again. "Not like this." She looked at him. Really looked. "You could leave," she said. "Now I would cover it." He didn't answer right away. Then, he rerouted power. The station responded like a loyal animal finally allowed to bare its teeth. Space twisted. Enemy targeting dissolved into nonsense. Their shots missed, not by chance, but by design. The station wasn't attacking. It was refusing. The fleet backed off, confused, shaken. Inside, the engineer sagged against a panel. "Okay, that system definitely voids the warranty." She smiled, then the smile faded. Because the galaxy was learning something dangerous. That she would not abandon what she protected. They learned her weakness and decided to exploit it. The next move didn't come from space. It came from within the network. Her name, her real name, began circulating. Not as reverence, as accusation. Every conflict quietly attributed to her hesitation. Every death laid at her delay. Propaganda perfectly tuned. "They're rewriting the story," the engineer said. "You're becoming the villain of inaction." "Yes," she said softly. "That is harder to fight." Civil unrest followed. Not rebellions, doubt. Worlds asking why they still needed her, why they had ever trusted one voice. "They're dismantling you without firing a shot," he said. She stood very still. "I can end this," she said. "One broadcast. One command." "And it'd work," he replied. "Short term." She nodded. "And teach them nothing." A new message arrived. Not a fleet. Not a threat. An invitation. Formal, legal, absolute. Appear before the council. Submit to judgment. Or be declared obsolete. "They're calling your bluff," he said. She turned to him. "I will go," she said. "Not as ruler. As witness." "That sounds dangerous." "Yes." He exhaled. "Then I'm coming." She blinked. "You don't have to." "I know." Outside, the galaxy held its breath. Inside, the station powered down its defenses, not surrendering. Waiting. They're not trying to kill her anymore, they're trying to erase her. The council chamber wasn't a place. It was a construct. Projected authority layered over empty space. Designed to make speakers feel small and decisions feel inevitable. Thrones without chairs. Power without responsibility. She stood alone at its center. No fleet, no crown. No aura unleashed. Just her. The engineer watched from the station, fists clenched. Systems tuned just enough to listen without being noticed. The accusations came calmly, efficiently. Worlds destabilized, trade disrupted, faith shaken. All traced indirectly to her refusal to act. "You abandoned your role," one counselor said. "I redefined it," she replied. "You endangered the galaxy. I trusted it." Murmurs rippled. They wanted spectacle, submission, or proof she was still indispensable. Instead, she did something unprecedented. She disconnected herself. Ancient control links unraveled at her command. Systems that answered only to her went silent, redistributed, decentralized, released. Gasps. "You would dismantle the very structure that keeps order?" A voice demanded. "Yes," she said. "Because order that requires fear is already broken." The engineer felt it then across sensors and space. Power leaving her, voluntarily. The council hesitated. And hesitation was all it took. When she gave up power, the galaxy panicked. Without her binding authority, old tensions flared. Not wars, worse. Opportunists. Regional powers moved fast, testing borders, seizing leverage. Not because they were strong, but because they were scared. The council scrambled. "You cannot leave now," they said. "The system isn't ready." She met their gaze. "Then it must learn." A fleet jumped early, unauthorized, aggressive. The engineer saw it first. "They're moving," he said, "and they're not listening." She felt the pull again, that instinct to end it. One command, one correction. Instead, she opened a channel to everyone. Not as ruler, as witness. "I will not stop you," she said calmly, "but I will remember who chose force when given freedom." The word spread faster than fleets. Some ships halted. Others hesitated. One didn't. It fired. The station's auxiliary system, still humming, still wrong, reacted. Not violently, protectively. Space folded. The shot dispersed into harmless light. The galaxy watched. Not her power. Human defiance. The engineer stood at the console, hand steady, heart racing. "She's not alone," he muttered. "That's the problem." The attacking fleet withdrew. Not defeated. Ashamed. They learned the galaxy no longer obeyed one voice, but it listened to one choice. Emergency laws dissolved. Councils restructured themselves out of necessity, not command. Fleets returned to patrol routes, uncertain but calmer. The galaxy moved forward. Messily. She returned to the station quietly. No announcement. No reverence. The engineer was recalibrating a console that didn't need fixing. "You don't have to stay," she said. "I know," he replied. "But this place kept standing when it mattered." She smiled. "You changed," she said. He shrugged. "Used to fix things because they were broken. Now I fix them because they matter." She had changed too. Power no longer clung to her like gravity. It was something she could set down and pick up only if needed. When she left, it wasn't with ceremony. Just a small ship, a quiet departure. "Try not to save any more rulers," she said. No promises. Stars stretched as her ship vanished, not toward a throne, but toward a future shaped by shared weight instead of command. The engineer turned back to his bench, humming badly. Somewhere in the galaxy, power learned restraint. Somewhere else, it learned fear. And on a dying station that refused to quit, a human learned that fixing one life had been enough to change everything. The galaxy survived not because someone ruled it, but because someone chose not to.